Cultures and neighborhoods come with boundaries, but there's a chance to freely cross the frontiers with JP Porchfest. The third annual festival takes place on Saturday, July 9th, with plans for more than 100 performers at more than 70 locations to be cruised by 10,000 people. To tell us about the event are two of the producing partners from JP Porchfest, Mindy Freed and Alyssa Jones. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to start with Mindy Freed because you got to tell people what the whole setting is like here, because sometimes between the locations and between the performances is as interesting as the show.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, you know what, this year you said 100 performers. We actually have nearly 180 bands that have signed up so far to play on roughly 80 porches. So, and in addition to that, we have theater, dance, circus arts, storytelling, and spoken word. So if you imagine, the entire neighborhood kind of explodes with lots of arts and culture activity, and it's very exciting. The in-between is people biking from place to place, walking from place to place. We have pedicabs, so some people will be, getting driven around in these bicycle pedicabs, which is kind of cool. And a lot of people just take this opportunity during the festival to have yard sales or to do sidewalk sales or just sort of be out and about. So the neighborhood comes alive.
Alyssa, it's all too easy to take an event like this. It's so open-ended and then try to pigeonhole it. And you're trying to keep things open-ended here by paying attention to diversity.
Yes, yes. Well, so one of the exciting things about our partnership is kind of this, two-way street about just being really honest about what's going on in our community and who's engaging and who isn't for various reasons. And I think the thing that interested me most about joining this conversation and joining as a producing partner was being on the Washington Street side of JP, on kind of like the far side of the moon on Forest Hill Street, and having really great programs on my porch, but maybe 30 people might come by the entire day. And I was wondering why that was. And then we started talking about kind of thinking about diversity and like realizing what the lay of the land is with the neighborhood and which communities, which sub-communities within JP maybe weren't plugging in as much. And then that kind of opened the door to kind of have a larger conversation about who were we reaching out to and what kinds of music were being offered and who even knew about it. And we're, knowing that the acts are not limited to just JP, kind of kicks open doors for folks outside to kind of speak to some of the residents that are in JP that maybe don't play. So.
Mindy, what have you learned from the past year's events that you'd like to try to at least increase or do somewhat differently?
Well, I think I'm just going to piggyback on what Alyssa was talking about, because the mission for Porchfest has always been to use music and the arts as this vehicle to bring people together across the divides of race, class, and culture. And so we, Marie Gitman, our other producing partner who's not here, but and I have been very intentional about this. And so we've met with nonprofit groups, community groups. We've reached out to ensure that we have folks from public housing, folks from the nonprofit sector involved. And we really have very much tried to engage people in that way. And so what we found was that we had performers who were very diverse, but the audience was less diverse. So that's where we felt, and we'd worked with Alyssa in the past, and that this conversation was really allowing us to think about how to really build our presence in Eggleston and Hyde Square. So, we found, for example, this year we've asked Alyssa, she wanted to pull together what we're calling a spin street, which is house and DJ and electronic music, and we're specifically reaching out to certain folks for that. This last year we involved Bromley Heath. It was okay, it was great, but not a lot of people showed up. But this year we've looked at what didn't work, and we've now strategized with tenants from Bromley Heath, and we feel that this year it's going to be very attractive because we're going to be closer to Center Street, closer to where people are. We've got a mixture of really interesting acts from Bromley Heath as well as outside of. So those are some of the things. This year we were approached by some folks. Maybe there's a group in JP called Senior Poets. led by Sandy Story, who started the JP Gazette. And that group is a group of 14 seniors, quote unquote, who will be reading their poetry. And we decided, well, why not just add to the seniors a group of youth spoken word artists, and then we have this intergenerational spoken word and poetry porch, which is exciting and making more implicit the engagement of people of all ages.
And this is BNN News, and we're talking with Mindy Freed and Alyssa Jones of JP Porchfest. Alyssa, what about another frontier you want to cross here is saying this is not for just young single people, this is for parents with kids too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. I think the most exciting thing for me is watching the families troll around. And I think we're having, is it We the People that's having?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's France Latour and Tanya Silberg, yes, Silberg-Nixon, started a movement called We the People, which is WEE. So it's little ones learning kind of, what is it to make your voice heard, right? And so there's a porch that'll be the We the People space where families with very small ones will be able to go and engage and do kind of interactive arts just to kind of participate in this space. So, the families definitely, all ages. I love that we have the pedicabs to make sure that folks can get around, right? So that it's not just, folks who are able to walk across, crisscrossing the neighborhood, but you can get in a pedicab and go.
And Mindy, there's going to be some dance in the mix as well, right?
Yeah, there is. Last year, well, first of all, we realized that we didn't have the capacity to do, when we were considering adding all these other art forms, to organize everything. So we've reached out to artists in those particular genres, and for the dance porch, we've asked Meta Movement's Latin Dance Company to curate or coordinate the dance porch. And last year they did it for the first time. 3,500 people showed up. It was salsa and Zumba. It was modern dance performances, ballet performances, a real mishmash of participatory and performing arts.
Well, I know this is a very walkable festival, but it doesn't hurt if people look online at least a few days before it comes on. And I guess there's a way people can get the details about where to go and what to see and hear.
Absolutely. So if people go to our website, which is jpporchfest.org, we will have the online map. And it's one of those things where you can click on a particular venue or you can click on an artist and it will tell you more information about the artist. And you can, I highly recommend people, if you have the interest in coordinating what you're going to do beforehand, figure it out, because it's going to be a bit overwhelming, and don't think you can do it all.
All right, thank you both very much, Mindy Freed and Alyssa Jones.
Thank you. Okay, pleasure.
From JP Porchfest. We'll have more news in just a moment.